You. Okay.
What episode is this?
This is episode 6 of Survivor, 7 of the podcast. Episode 6 was called Quick on the Draw. So
before we get started, I'm sorry I didn't watch it with you guys.
that's okay. Your microphone's not on.
Before we get started.
Hello, this is episode 6 of
Take
Survivor. 7 of the podcast because Kyle's mic wasn't on.
So I'll try this again. I'm sorry I didn't watch it with you guys.
That's all right.
It's all right. He was doing his podcast and he heard us erupt upstairs. But no, then we watched it again after so we could see what happened. But episode 6 of Survivor was called Quick on the Draw. It opens at day 15 with the Yara tribe. And Ben is like so happy. He's like, we can do whatever we want now. And they were happy to get Rob out. Ben...
I like Ben.
Felt like it was a constant lack of respect with Rob, which I get. Because Rob just wanted that Godfather kind of mentality.
Which I don't think that's how he played in the past, right?
He always played a little
yes
dirty.
And no, right.
He played a little dirty. It wasn't that he tried to... it was almost like everyone was a puppet. And he was a puppeteer. He was trying to control.
Like and this time, I didn't watch his other seasons, but he felt like he was... You should bow down to him because he's won... And maybe that
he's the most played player.
Even with Sandra, that ego of, well, I got asked to be like almost like a mentor.
Yeah. And Ben was really starting to get close to Sophie and Sarah. He was really talking to them a lot, and I feel like really enjoying their company, and they were able now to actually speak and have a real conversation.
I like the two of them. I feel like they could go a long ways together, Sophie and Sarah.
Yeah,
I like their connection. Yeah. It's a good vibe, whatever I'm feeling.
If they can keep winning challenges and get to the merge, the four of them,
that'd be a strong 4.
3. I don't like Adam. I'm sorry. I know he's your player, but the funny thing he said was the Wicked Witch is dead. He did say that, like the Rob's finally gone, which was kind of funny. But he's getting worried because Ben is getting close to Sophie and Sarah.
He should be worried, honestly.
Yeah.
He should be.
Because I feel like Ben really had no allegiance to him and all the shit he was pulling on the original, whatever tribe it was.
I don't dislike Adam, but
he's just annoying.
He's for sure a weasel.
Yeah. So still day 15, we cut to the edge. Tyson finds a note tied to one of the
logs. Everyone thought he was making a joke because he's like, oh, he's bringing more firewood.
Or that they were going to have to bring the firewood back to the top. They
panicked for a second. But it was a note to earn a fire token, and it was about, the note said something about turning stones for success.
It was about timing.
And it said something about the time.
At the right time.
At the right time, yes, exactly.
And so they're all searching, and Tyson has no tokens right now. This is his first or second kind of week on the edge. Where everyone else Rob doesn't have any, but I think everybody else does because they're that awful firewood challenge. The more stones you turn over, the better, is said, with something along those lines, and right place, right time.
Yes.
Yeah, the more stones you turn over, the better your chances in the right place, right time. So Tyson's like, the only thing that has to do with time is the tide.
Right.
So he was looking along the tide at those rocks, and he does find it, and it's tied to it. And of course, Rob's lurking.
It was like perfect. Like he's in the background, like telling people what to do. All right, everybody out.
Let's go make rice.
Yeah. You knock it off. We're going, back to camp. Let's go.
And so Tyson pretended he was peeing, just because then he could turn his back to him and see it, and then he was able to grab it. So when he gets back to camp, eventually everyone starts to scatter again to look for it, and he just stays back and is able to read it. And it is an idle nullifier that he has to sell to a player in the game because it's no use to him on the edge of extinction for 1 fire token. And so his thought process was really cool because he's like...
Here comes our special guest.
Mia, hi.
Hey, girl.
His thought process was really cool because he's like, I need to make sure I'm sending this to someone that's actually going to buy it. Because you send it to somebody that might say, I don't have any tokens or I can't do this. But so he was really, really thinking about it, and he sent it to Parvati, and she ate it right up. She was like all about it. Well,
she had tokens to spend.
Exactly. She had 4 at the time.
I think so.
So
She's like the token whore.
this is the first time.
Everyone's got to have one in a group.
Well, Natalie's on the edge and she's in the game.
Hey-o.
Tyson is the first one to use a token to buy something besides something for the game. Like, this is something for himself. Right. So we actually got to see the menu a little bit.
And we've talked about this 2 maybe episodes ago. The menu. We were like, what is on this menu?
It did show it, but I didn't write everything down, of course.
But you had to go back and like pause it to see what was on the menu.
But there was like peanut butter, pizza, a 6-pack of beer, a bottle of wine.
An idol?
Idols were up top. There was idols and like
idols were like 4 tokens, I think.
3 or 4, yeah. But all the stuff at the bottom is like it was like 1 token for a 6-pack of beer, 1 token for wine. So Tyson, I thought, was really smart.
It is valuable as they are. Buying an idol is probably not a good idea if you're on the edge.
Right. Well, he said that. He goes, if I buy one that I don't get back in the game, I'm going to be pissed because it's a waste. And so he bought a jar of peanut butter, and I think he thought his jar of peanut butter was going to be like this little tiny
But to me, that
thing.
was a no-brainer.
He got a
You would have bought the peanut butter?
Now, knowing what it looked like, yes.
I wouldn't have.
Why?
I would have got the pizza and ate it in front of everybody.
No, but to me,
like, where'd you get that? It's
this
up on that hill. Remember we carried all that firewood? It was right there.
But no, like, to me, that's going to give him a lot of extra strength because all they're getting right now is rice. He's getting no real protein unless they catch a fish, random fish. This is going to be huge, I think, for his strength in the long term. The bad thing is you're going to reek like peanut butter. Like, everyone else smells like straight up death out there. You haven't brushed your teeth in 15 days.
I've actually thought about that. Like, they got really white teeth for people who don't brush their teeth. They got to have like something that are like.
I don't know. I couldn't do it.
At least scrubbing their teeth.
No. Okay. Day 16, challenge day. All the tribes walk out, and it's the biggest reaction we've had to someone being voted off and the other tribes seeing them. It was all like,
well, I think no one thought anyone had the guts to do it.
That's my thing. I think no one thought anyone was going to actually
do it. He was
do
still
it.
on the other tribe. He'd still be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this challenge was a pretty hard challenge, I thought. It was pretty much like a good endurance challenge. They had to swim out to the boat. Somebody had to hop in the boat and get the 3 big bags of rice out. Then they had to swim the bags of rice to the next obstacle, hoist the bag up and get it through the small... Like a fence. But they had to get the bag of rice through the small square hole, and everyone else had to climb up and go over. Once they got through there, they had to get the rice to the tables on the island, cut the bags open to get the 3 balls. Yeah. Then they had the balance challenge with the ball going through the maze and not falling out and getting the 3 balls to stay. I know you're going to be shocked by this. Well, I don't get there yet. So 2 tribes are going to the tribal council. Only 1 tribe is winning and getting the reward. So we're going to have 2 people voted out, which was kind of cool. And then everyone's really shocked. Sandra sat out again. Right?
Stop it.
Your reaction, Kyle, was the best. Like, oh,
yeah,
shocker.
he like flipped out upstairs. And then Michelle sat out for the Saleh tribe, which was, I think, a good sit out. I don't believe she sat out yet for anything. And she's not super strong. Of her and Parvati, I would think that just pure strength, Parvati would be a little bit stronger than her. So I think that was a smart decision by the Saleh tribe. So the tribes go out. Saleh coming out strong again. Just to refresh, Saleh is Parv, Nick, Yule, Michelle, and Wendell. They come right out of the gate quick. They got their 3 bags off the boat quick. I think Yule hopped up in the boat for them to get the stuff off. And DeCall was in second with the bags. And DeCall is Tony, Jeremy, Sandra, Kim, and Denise. And Ben ended up being a beast. Like, once they finally got...
You've always said that. I know.
Well,
see, I don't.
The reason Kyle likes him is the first season he actually kind of watched with me. He didn't watch it in full, but when that season finale was airing and Ben was being a monster, finding idols out, digging out, and that's what kept getting him in.
To me, it was the obvious. Like, why wouldn't you do that?
But we were at his parents' house the night of the finale, and I was like, I have to watch this. And so we leave it a commercial. His mom called me and was telling me play by play what was happening on the way home.
Oh my gosh.
Because we were there. We're trying to because it was such a long episode to get home for. But that's the first time I think he really, really watched it. Was even the finale of that, and he's like, "Why isn't everybody out doing what he's doing?" Because it's not how the game is normally played.
Doesn't matter,
normally,
but
it's
you
more
get down,
secretive. But that's why
you get
Kyle
down to the
likes
last
Ben.
couple though. Like, screw it. Like, I got an idol. You guys can fight about who's going to vote out who.
Yeah. So,
And Ben's playing different this time than he did the first time. He was on the bottom
He's
a
being
lot
more social this
at
time.
the end. Yeah, now he's more out of his shell.
So Wendell for the Saleh tribe, he's able to get all 3 balls out of the rice bags first, which that kind of scared me. I thought somebody was
so
going to cut their
dangerous.
hands off because they made a comment about the knives being really sharp
And kind of
and they're
said,
like
away from your body.
like right next to their hand, and like you said, cutting towards their
Cut towards your body, not towards your body.
Yeah.
Nervous.
So now we got all the tribes. No, we have Yara and Saleh are both balancing the balls, getting them from
And they're
the
still in
maze.
the water. Dekal's still
Yeah,
in the water.
Dekal was kind of behind at this point. Like getting over that obstacle. They had struggled with that because they had Denise and Kim. So they were lacking a little bit in the beefcake department, getting stuff over that.
Beefcake.
So I believe the first 2 balls to get stuck, like get in their thing, it was very close between Nick and Sophie. Of them getting the balls, they kind
If
of
Nick would have, I don't know if there was a rule they had to like switch out, but if they didn't switch out, they would have won because Nick was like,
he was pretty good.
He was
at
pretty
it.
good at
the
it.
first, she got both of the little hooks off.
The whole tray was like
The whole
all over
tray,
the
and you're like, you need to calm down.
Yeah.
So I think they finished their first one pretty quick. And then you had Adam come in and Wendell come in. And Wendell does it, and he got really cocky when Jeff's like,
Yes.
oh, he's at this really hard part.
Yeah.
Jeff, watch this. Boom, and he loses the ball.
I loved it.
And I was
I
like,
loved it.
kind of, fuck you.
he's trying to
because-
impress his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
Wenny.
So Adam, for the Yara tribe, gets the second ball in quick. And Wendell catches back up and gets his second one in, but Sophie's able to finish and get her third ball
Right.
in the hole through the maze. And it was like,
I was actually really happy for them
I
because they
was
were on
too,
the bottom
because they
with numbers.
We're on the bottom with numbers.
Right.
They had to vote Rob off last week. So I thought it was a really good like motivation for them to go
sure.
further in the game.
Yep.
So I thought that was pretty cool. And their reward was peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Which
I
someone
think.
had guessed.
Sophie did.
Yeah.
He was getting ready to unveil the reward, and
Like
she's
she could
like,
smell it.
and I thought the same thing. Peanut butter and jelly, and he's like, "Good job!" Before he even had the cover off of it. Okay, so still day 16. Now it's after the challenge, so everybody's bummed, and we cut to the Saleh tribe, which is Parvati, Wendell, Yule, Michelle, and Nick. Parvati feels the boys are going to gang up on her, and Wendell is talking to the boys because they were all from the same tribe previously, so it was like a no-brainer. The boys are going to stick together, and so they said vote for Michelle and or they were to vote for Parv. So the Michelle and Parvati are talking, and they're trying to find a crack somewhere in that alliance. Who can we talk to?
I thought they could have.
I know. So they were talking to Nick, and they thought he might want to work with them. And I thought for like a half a second, like, oh, maybe he will want to work
I
with
agree.
them. But
What'd you see?
I saw it was just like awkward conversation nonstop.
Nick's awkward, especially talking to Parvati because I had
Parv.
a
then
crush.
Parv.
I had a crush on you.
But Parv. But doesn't that when Parv and Wendell having like the awkward conversation about
Yeah, I think I'm getting there. So Michelle is thinking, first she tries to talk to Wendell. Or no, maybe this part happened.
I don't remember
Yes.
what you're talking
So
about.
Michelle.
Parv and Wendell had this like awkward conversation?
Wait. So first Michelle's talking to Wendell, and she's trying to say like, if I'm going to write your name down. So Parvati thinks I'm being an alliance with her, but then if I can try to get like 2 fire tokens from her.
Yeah.
Remember, it was a whole convoluted thing, and he got pissed, and he's like, I don't care about fire tokens. I care about nobody writing my name down. He was kind of a dick to her.
Right, yeah.
And I think that's just that power trip thing over Michelle. But then we go to the Wendell and Parvati conversation. And they're both just saying how he's like, well, my people are voting for you. And I think your people are voting for me. And is there anything we can do? And she said, let's mix things up. Would you be willing to vote for Yule or Nick? And he said, I would want 2 fire tokens from you, and you tell me who to vote for.
Yeah.
So he wanted her to be the bad guy and say someone's name, and she's like, well, who would you want to vote for? And he wouldn't answer her.
Right.
And it kind of just like he's like, well, I don't really think you trust me. And like it was weird.
Well,
it was
it's true
awkward.
though, and they both don't trust each other.
It was extremely awkward.
Yeah. So then Parv was talking to Nick again and telling him. So Parvati was trying to now stir the pot. Okay, so Wendell was willing to vote one of them out for a couple of fire tokens. Can I use that and try to now get this all turned on to Wendell? Which it was a good play by her. I thought it wasn't her being mean or vindictive. It wasn't her trying to create something. It's what he said. So I thought that was kind of cool. So we left there not really knowing what was going to go on. So now we cut to the DeCall tribe. So they're back and they're all apologetic about,
I know where this is
losing.
going.
And Tony disappears.
My guy. Yep.
Again,
I own
I can't believe someone didn't think of this before. It was fantastic.
He did it in his last season.
Yeah, but it was great.
But like nobody knew where he was, and he's in his little spy shack, which is right
Right by
next
the
to the
water-
watering hole. He's covered in like old bamboo leaves.
You'd see like his bald head like pop out.
pop up. And so eventually people start to realize,
Just think, if I'm on the show, if I do it, you're gonna see my bald head pop up.
so then this is just some like random conversations happening. Sandra made the comment that she is sticking with DeCall till the end, like once the merge comes, just trying to prove her loyalty, I think. Jeremy still has an advantage. So he's like, I'm nervous, but if I feel like it's me, I'm going to just choose to leave tribal and leave Denise, high and dry, because that was his other alliance from his previous tribe. He's like, I'm going to leave and I don't get to vote, but I'm going to live up to the other day. Great. So then it cuts to Sandra, Denise, and Kim talking. And Sandra got like a weird vibe where they were talking. Let's go someplace else. I think she felt like Tony's hiding somewhere, and I feel like I have a bad feeling in the
Were
pit of
they
my
at the
stomach.
watering hole? And she said,
I think they were
Close by, I think, to that.
and so they
place.
moved away like towards the beach. And Sandra was just saying how she wants to stick with the members of her old tribe because it's the numbers, not necessarily that she wants to play with those
old
players.
tribe bullshit.
But
Spent 4 days with him. I'm committed.
no, but I get what she's saying. She's
like
like,
an eighth
I'm
grade
sticking with
girlfriend.
them because we have the numbers. I'm not sticking with them because necessarily I want to work with these individuals from my old tribe, but just to get
It
me
just
through.
gives you the number. Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
And Denise was trying to kind of plead her case a little bit, just like I'm willing to do what you guys need me to
She
do.
actually said, let me at least plead my case.
Yeah. And so then Kim and Sandra are talking, and they think that Tony has a spy shack because they knew from his previous season he did. So they were actually
But Kim
talking
kept
about
saying,
that.
"Where's Tony?"
Yeah,
she
they
kept-
all were.
Right,
They
but
all were.
I remember her so clearly. She's the one that kept saying, "Tony's missing. Like,
Well,
should we
then-
be worried?"
But then Jeremy said something. He's like, why did he, of all the important days, like this is like the most important day we've had, happen to go to tribal? Like, why did he choose now to like skeeve out and leave?
Right.
So, of course, Tony pops back out. Worst timing ever. And he makes up some bullshit about, I climbed up a tree.
I'm paranoid.
I'm paranoid. I climbed up a tree to try to look for an idol, and I fell down. I fell on my back. He had this
Right.
whole like story, like I almost broke my back and all this stuff, but whatever. So
He would have been better off just saying I was idol hunting
Right.
because he's been known for to do that in the past too.
right, well, that's what he did say. He said he fell out of a tree, and that's why it was stuck.
Make
But,
it more.
Quit
so
while
then-
you're ahead.
So Tony and Jeremy were talking, and Jeremy had said, like, if it saves me for a day, I will write Denise's name down, which is fair. When it comes down to it, I get that. I think his alliance was with Denise, but there was 2 of them against 3.
Right.
Nothing he was going to be able to do was going to be able to break those 3 up at that time. But Sandra, not so sure. I think she did like Denise. I think she felt there was a good quality to her there, and it was a little bit of a power trip.
Yeah, she was still
I
walking
do
around
this
like
to you,
trying to control
you do
it.
this to me.
Yeah.
So Sandra tells Denise, if you give me 2 fire tokens, I'm going to give you, because the idol that Sandra has was only good for that.
Right.
Like,
It was like the
tribal.
last one. That
It was
she
good
could
for like
use.
3 or whatever. It was the last one it was good for. And she said, if you give me 2 fire tokens, I will give you an idol, but you need to stay quiet. You cannot tell anybody I did this. And so Denise says, okay. Sandra doesn't know Denise had an idol herself already.
Right.
And
Which I forgot she had one too.
Yes.
but Denise did say, I'm going to give you 1 token now, and I'll give you 1 when we get back from tribal, which was the
If
smartest.
it's good.
If the idol's good.
Yeah.
Which was the smartest thing she did. And then it cuts to tribal. We start with Sele in tribal first. And Jeff always just talks to everybody and kind of gets their opinions on what happened and Wendell talks about like the existing friendships within the game, because you might have been friends with people before you came into the game.
Right.
And he says that he would be willing to stab anybody in the front or the back for $2 million, which I don't entirely blame him for. It is $2 million.
$2 million.
And to me, I feel like if you are friends with these people, you could say the three of us were going to play.
$2 million.
I
I
would-
mean, it's 1.3 after taxes. I'm doing it.
I would say no matter what happens in the game, we're friends after.
Well, we're family after.
But you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, if it's no shit, Sherlock. But no, I'm just saying, like, I feel like the
No,
game
I
has
agree.
been around for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
To
You
go
know-
into
yeah,
this,
and they've all been
to get
there.
offended at somebody for playing the game of Survivor, how it's meant to be played, to outwit, to
Outplay.
outsmart, and outplay, outlast, whatever it is. But it's just like, it's the point of the game. So when people get pissed off, it makes me mad because I'm like, there's no reason. It's the game of Survivor. It's
Right.
how it's supposed to be played.
For sure.
But Wendell says that, and then everyone else kind of gangs up, not like at the same time, but they all kind of say things to contradict what he said. So Nick is just talking about
It's party time.
about wanting to win, but not totally having that same philosophy as Wendell, I think is kind of how he put it. And then Michelle says that she wants to play with people that like want to play with her. And so like everyone's kind of saying shit about like against Wendell. Parv wants to play with fun people. And
Right.
Wendell rolls his eyes. And then
Michelle
he gets mad.
tries to get him to say a name again.
Parvati
does. Yes.
But so Wendell like rolls his eyes. He's like, well, I just think everyone's trying to attack me right now and like taking out of context what I said. And it's,
It talks like this all but like,
I know. So then Michelle says that her and Wendell always talk very hard to each other
Because
of their previous.
they have a history.
Yeah. So this is when Parvati kind of blows up what Wendell said.
Should have ate those carbs.
Blows it up kind of about the fire token, and Wendell said it's still a live offer, but Wendell won't say a name.
Yep.
And Parvati thinks he's just being like difficult about it, and she doesn't trust him. And Yule hasn't said a boo this entire time yet.
I love
and
him.
And he's finally like, I'm a little nervous. Like, this is kind of a lot of conversation going on right now. And this is when Michelle goes in to say that she's emotionally drained. And I can see that in the show. I can see how it would be an emotionally draining show to be on. And this is when Nick said, you have to make a hard decision to go and stab somebody in the back. And I agree with that too. I agree with Wendell saying you can do whatever you want to do to get $1 million or $2 million, but it still shouldn't be an easy decision because we all do have morals and ethics and stuff. So I think even though it's a game,
right.
it still might be hard sometimes to make that decision to do that.
It's $2 million.
No, I agree. I
You
agree.
could stab me in the back, Kyle. It's okay.
So they vote.
You know?
$300,000.
Right, thank you. Anything.
Yeah, for college.
You know? Probably more
Tell me to
than
pay off mine.
that. Anyway.
So the seventh person voted out was Parvati.
Oh, Parv.
And so she gets to join Rob, which was her main alliance on the edge of extinction.
Yeah.
And she gave her 3 tokens to Michelle,
I loved it.
which I thought was pretty cool. That'll give Michelle.
I liked their relationship too. Oh, just like
Shouldn't have gave me carbs.
Me boring
Sophie
you?
and
No.
Sarah. I like theirs. I liked Parv and Michelle's as
Yeah,
well.
they had a good
you know,
dynamic.
Parv did herself a disservice by aligning herself with Rob early on. Because I think she
Yeah.
could have played a better
She put
game.
a bigger target on her
Because
back
she was
than what
with
would have
Rob.
already been there. Yeah. So do we want to continue with the next tribal so then Rhonda can kind of talk about it all? Because we're not going to call Marty.
Either or, we just talk ourselves like afterwards about the next tribal and kind of just see like what. It doesn't matter.
Let's talk about the whole thing. Then we're going
And
to
then we'll
call
her
Ro.
because I
Okay.
think she'll have some input about
Okay.
this.
Yeah.
So Parvati goes home, gives Michelle fire tokens. Now we cut to DeCall coming in. And Jeff talks to Kim first. Mia's back down here. And Kim says that the gameplay is shifting. But it is still about the threats in the game and trying to get threats out. And Sandra, at this point, I think this is where she puts her foot in her mouth, because she is talking about threats versus non-threats.
Yes.
And she's like, yeah, the threats, like me and Tony and Kim and Jeremy.
She broke her arm patting herself in the back.
And the non-threats, and she like.
And how's Jeremy a threat? He's, in my opinion, he's kind of flown under the radar this entire season.
So I think she said Michelle first, then she said Denise, and Denise kind of like,
whoa, you're attacking me now.
But Denise doesn't take offense. She just kind of stays quiet about it. And then
drinking my empty beer.
Don't let her cut her tongue.
I won't. Atta girl.
And then Jeremy says how Denise could go home, and that was talked about at camp, and he was talked about it too, and how they want to keep strength in the game at this point. Because Michelle, I think she's strong, but she is a little, or not Michelle, Denise is a little woman. She's just a small build.
I think she's a beast.
I think she's strong, but she's not as she can't carry stuff like those big guys can. And this is when Denise speaks up, and she says she's not a challenge beast, but relationships can be formed and move forward, and things can change. It's not all about strength all the time. And something she said earlier when Sandra told her she said she wasn't a threat is she said to Jeff, there's different types of threats in the game. There is threats that are the strength threats, but there is people that are
play really good social game.
And I
can't stop yawning.
And I feel like they fly underneath the radar. Like they're the ones that,
but they're forming those good bonds, and they're still making strategic plays, but they're not all out there, in your face with everything. So, hi Mia.
You just winked at me.
Crickets.
Yeah. So Jeff brings out the bucket of votes. He's like, does anybody have a hidden immunity they want to play?
It went a little bit. I mean,
and I know. And Denise is like, yeah, Jeff, I think I have something that's going to make me...
give me a second.
Give me a second. I think it's going to make me feel a little better. And she pulls out the one that Sandra gave her.
To make sure it was legit.
And hands it to Jeff. This is a hidden immunity idol. And she wants to play it for herself.
Yep.
So everyone's like, oh my God. And that would have been enough.
And Sandra's smile, though, when she did it, though, it was like...
Because but I think Denise didn't know how truthful they were being with her. Were they telling her they were voting her, but they were actually going to vote Jeremy? And she's trying to save Jeremy, too. So that was close to coming down. Hold on, Jeff, I have one more thing. And pulls out another immunity
My
idol.
mouth dropped. It did. It truly did.
She played it for Jeremy, which I hope...
So I thought about
solidifies.
Yes. To me, at first, I'm like, oh, it's kind of... You look back and you're like, okay, there wasn't a single vote for Jeremy. Was he chewing about him?
Like I said, she didn't know.
But she's built a relationship now.
Yes. And so I think he needs to honor that going forward.
I agree.
And they read the votes, and there was 4 votes for Denise, and Denise voted for Sandra.
We were upstairs.
Used her idol. And then voted for her.
They only give her 1 fire token. She didn't get the second one.
No, so we're upstairs. Of course, Mom and Todd are here, and we're yelling like, whoa! Kyle's down here making his own podcast with the boys, and he goes...
I literally heard you guys, and I looked at and they looked at me like, what the hell was that? And I said, they're watching Survivor. Sandra must have got voted out.
But how Denise did it was amazing. I mean, that deserves so
in my short
much.
time of playing Survivor or watching Survivor, not yet. Might be one of the best plays anybody's made other than Ben.
That was a pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. And so I think Sandra had 2 fire tokens because she had one and then she got the one from Denise. She gave those to Yule, which I thought was interesting.
It was interesting.
odd.
But I mean, I think she liked how he plays, I just thought it was really good. That vote off was so great. Okay.
It was good. All right, let's give Rhonda a call.
Bro.
Parvati was her player that got voted.
Yes, Parv.
I'm going to turn up
turn it up, Allie.
Turn it up.
Hello?
Hello.
You answer the phone when we call on 1 ring, not 2.
Who's this?
It's the Grim Reaper. You have a player on extinction.
Right.
You're going to die
I'm
in
not
7
worried.
days.
I'm not worried. I'm more worried about you people that just went to New York City.
Oh, stop it. We're talking about Survivor.
So we'll recap the episode with you a little bit and then talk about the
Yeah,
vote
you
offs.
don't need to recap any episode with me. I know exactly what happened. Poverty got screwed.
First question I have, though, is
Yeah.
what did you feel about Sandra sitting out for a, third time?
Or
I
was it
think
4th?
she's brilliant.
I think it's our fourth
Or
time.
4th time?
I think it is.
You're kidding me right now?
Brilliant. No, she's brilliant.
That
No wonder she's won it twice.
Sit out the challenges?
Right. Laziest
Yeah.
Survivor player
I feel like
ever.
if you sit out too many, that puts a target on your back because
Yeah.
you're not
No,
contributing
she
to the
already
team.
had a target on her back. She's trying to play nicey nice now.
Right.
She's calculated no matter what it is. There's
my
a reason
God.
why she's doing it. And the reason why she's doing it, she doesn't want to be held responsible for messing up
Yeah.
and or wasting her energy. So
I feel like
I
they
mean,
don't
I
even
was
talk
shocked.
about it. She just volunteers herself.
Right. I'll sit out.
The rest of the tribe's talking about it. And she's like, ooh, ooh,
me.
me.
Oh, we have another special guest. Lily's now down here.
Lil?
who's Willie?
Lily.
My-
Oh, Lily.
Um, the other question I have, do you think it was interesting it took until day 15 for somebody, aka Tyson, to finally buy something with a fire token?
I mean, it's interesting, but I think they really just don't even know
What to do?
what they mean yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't understand
Well,
if they're
people-
important or not, or if they need them, or so.
People on Extinction probably do. It's the people who are still
In the game.
in the
don't
game
really
that
know.
don't really know.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's weird. I mean, we don't even know.
Right.
Ro, would you
If
bought the
they're
peanut
gonna-
butter?
Yeah. Food's
What?
wicked important.
See, that's what
Yeah.
I said too.
No. I would have bought the pizza and ate it in front of everybody.
And you would have shit your guts out.
I would have just rubbed it
Yeah,
in
but
Rob's
peanut
face.
butter's got a lot more nutritional.
And you can
Benefits
keep it
and
for
You
the long
forget
term.
she's camped a lot in her
Oh, yeah.
life,
This is
and
like
she's done a lot of
Survivor,
that kind
yeah.
of crap. So
I understand
easy
the
one.
importance of the peanut butter, and maybe if I was actually there, I would do that. But in the time of me watching, I was like, I'd rub this in Rob's face. He was being a dick about everyone like
Right.
looking for it, and he'd just come back to camp and I was like, housing a pizza. Like, where'd you get that? I'd be like, oh, I found that thing you've been looking for.
What are your thoughts on the challenge?
Wait, what challenge?
It was they had to get the bags of rice off the boat to the obstacle, through the hole in the obstacle, climb over the obstacle, then get the balls out of the bags of rice, and then balance them on the maze.
You got to remember, I was probably an AFib at the time, so my memory.
Oh,
is,
true.
oh shit,
my memory is not real good right now.
Gotcha.
Poverty getting voted off caused me to go to the hospital.
We can go right to tribal if you
yeah,
want.
that's fine.
I mean, you can basically tell. I think the way they clip it out, what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, did you know? I mean, I thought maybe for a split second they could have gotten Wendell or someone out. I just had a feeling about Nick flipping sides.
Yeah, I thought for a second
You
Nick
know?
might flip.
Nick's pansy.
He's a puss, right? So
See, I was trying to be nice.
he's a big capital P.
What what did you feel about Parvati and Wendell's conversation before tribal and during tribal?
Well, I think that I don't like Wendell very much right now.
You're not alone there.
I don't know. And maybe they're just painting him to be something,
Yeah, how they're
Yeah.
editing it, yeah.
Right? They show us what they want to show us. But wait, who did she leave her token to? I forget.
She left her 3 fire tokens to Michelle.
Michelle. That's right. Yeah, I mean, I wanted Wendell to go, and I thought he was going to go, but
Yeah.
I tell you, women are sometimes I don't know.
Let's hear it.
I
All
won't
right.
say it.
So,
This is a family show.
oh, you want to talk to me about that first? Okay.
That's what I was gonna
No,
do.
go ahead. I want to do another thing, but go ahead.
Okay. What did you think about Tony's spy bunker?
He's brilliant too.
See?
I was gonna say, would you do that?
Of course
Oh,
I
of course.
would.
That's a
Well,
I did it to
no-brainer.
my own
Yeah, but she'd
class.
have a really nice spy bunker.
Right.
Dude, when we were in the Grand Canyon, my group was up. I did it to my own class. I climbed up a tree, put all black on, and like the tree literally hovered over the campfire, and I just listened to what they were saying.
So Rose done this before.
Right.
Where was this
Yeah.
at?
When I took my class to the Grand Canyon, they were up late,
Like-
and I was like getting pissed at them.
The Grand Canyon or the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon?
No.
The Grand Canyon, the Grand Canyon. So I snuck up into a tree, put all black on. Unfortunately, I have corrective vision, and they started shining lights, and there was a reflection off my glasses, and they're like, "Oh my
I've never
God,
heard this story.
yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So
Yeah,
since
I would do that all the time.
I know you would
build-
always.
Yeah.
So since the other person we're gonna call, he has decided not to. He doesn't want to be phoned at this time of night. Can you give us anything about Sandra's
Dude, she's gonna win
departure?
it.
You think she's
gonna win
gonna
it.
win? Are you kidding me?
You still think she's going to
No.
win?
Yep.
There's no way.
She's going to sit out
She's
challenges at Extinction.
She's 3 steps ahead of everybody all the time, and she's a master manipulator. Yep.
What about Denise and how she kind of played Sandra in that whole thing? I thought
Okay,
that was
which is-
brilliant.
Which was good for Denise, but would you ever pick Denise over Sandra to win? Never. I
Hold
would
on.
vote for Sandra.
I would now, based on what she did.
No
I'm going to
way.
seize an
It was-
opportunity right here. I bet you $20
Never.
that Sandra doesn't even make it to the final 3.
I'll take that bet.
Oh,
We'll
you
sign
heard it
that going
here.
on.
You heard it here, folks.
Because that would require her to do a challenge to get back in the game.
Yeah,
Right.
well, she's certainly good at puzzles. She's smart. Well, with her head, if it's a deeply physical challenge, then I don't know. But
Yeah.
she
I don't think
shouldn't
it could be. I
tired
don't-
because she's been sitting out of everything.
It's going to be the easiest $20 ever made.
I should get some odds on that, like 10 to 1. We still
No,
take
I don't
that
know.
bet.
You're more confident than I am.
Mm.
You have her winning. I'd said top 3.
She's one. You got to remember that even the second time she played, these people like Denise thinks she's like, "Ooh, I just outwitted Sandra." No way. There's no way she's ever going to beat her in anything like that. She just doesn't have the wits to do it. She's just not that type of person.
I
Sandra
like
would
this
eat
bet.
her- She
that
would
you guys
eat her
got.
young.
She would eat her.
And you know I'm right.
Mm.
So
All right,
We
so
didn't hear about any of
what are your final thoughts on this episode? Anything else you want to share with us, or are you good?
well, they need to start showing it like once a night now that we're in quarantine here.
Right.
Isolation.
I know a week is
expensive.
way too long.
So you're going to come up in 2
Right.
weeks and do an episode with us?
I know because you kind of copped out on us last time.
No, she's in hospital.
That was her
I was in
copping out.
hospital.
That was her copping out. It's
Oh.
okay.
Well, I will tell you that I just heard on the news that anybody was in New York City, once they came home, they should self-isolate for 14 days. That's you two freaks.
We've already been self-isolating.
I
I know.
went nowhere. I can't help people come to my house.
No.
I went no place but the grocery
And the
store.
problem is, like, think about it, really. I mean, I'm not afraid of the coronavirus. I mean, I had pneumonia and I didn't even know it. So
True.
they're like, "Oh, you have pneumonia." I'm like,
You can have the coronavirus
What?
and not even know it.
I could have it, and maybe that's what I do have.
Did they
And
test you
showed
for
up
it?
as- They did not, but they just tested me.
You weren't
Or,
famous enough to get a test.
That's
nope.
right.
Nope.
I
If you
know.
want to get tested, just cough in a celebrity's face and wait for the results to come back.
Yeah.
Seriously, we're an NBA player, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, they did not test me because I didn't have any symptoms, but I think they were shocked when they saw that I had pneumonia. So clearly, I'm special.
Yes.
Well,
you
as
are.
of the 28th, we will have been home for 14 days
Yeah.
from New York City. So after that, we can have you up to do
podcast.
an episode.
Sounds good. I mean, it's crazy time.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
That it
come
is.
dressed in my Survivor gear.
Yes.
You have Survivor gear?
Yes, she
Well, I
does.
have a buff from about 20 years ago like original one of the. Well,
And she has a lot of tools.
Bring
Yeah.
her. I want to see her wear it.
Come with her tool belt on.
Shoot.
Her stuff.
Kyle wants to see your
I'll
buff.
dress the hunt.
And bring her $20 too.
In the buff?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, $20.
hmm
All
yeah,
right.
we
Well,
had buffs for one of our trips.
that's cool.
I've been some crazy places, you know.
I know.
It's
I was supposed to go on the
amazing
one with her, but it got canceled
Yeah.
way back in the
Where
day.
were we going, Virgin Islands?
Yeah.
Still can.
We still can.
Actually, I heard they're not the
Yeah,
Virgin
they-
Islands anymore.
What are they?
They're just the islands because Chuck Norris visited them.
My God, are you kidding me?
You're an idiot.
I was like, oh, really?
Well, you married him, so what does that make you?
Exactly.
I don't know. An even bigger idiot.
She's not a virgin either.
Obviously.
Alrighty. Well, we'll talk
Hey,
to you soon.
well, yeah, hopefully not real soon.
I hope
My
to
other
see you
girl's under
soon.
the-
Not to just
See-
talk to you soon.
floating under the radar, my other girl.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know who she is. You don't
He
even
got
know who's playing
replaced.
with her.
I got replaced. Yeah, it's okay.
You did?
Yeah,
That's what you just said.
you just literally said that. What? I'm not
No,
having this
that's not
discussion with you
what I
right now. Do it.
I didn't say that.
Is that the one?
I don't know what it is. The crickets.
Can you hear that?
Cricket. I can hear cricket.
Well, alrighty. We will talk to you soon then. Hopefully you can come up for another podcast or be a part of one, actually, that is.
Yeah, I wish I had Chandra. Damn it.
I don't. Marty does. And he's the one that didn't even want to call us or talk to us, so you have to fight him for
He gets
her.
embarrassed.
Well, that's because Karen made him get in, probably.
Probably. Yeah.
Not Karen.
It's just like Rob
Whoop,
and
whoop,
Amber.
whoop.
She wanted the double winnings if she does win.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. I
Anyway.
mean, smart,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously Marty's what? We all know it.
Okay.
Hey, well, thanks for calling.
It's good seeing me, you know.
It's great talking to me as well.
Have a good night.
All right, bye.
If you guys need me to show you something, let me know. I'm breaking it out.
All right.
Will do.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
It's always an interesting conversation.
Rhonda. So the previews for next time showed a lot of Michelle Wendell drama.
Oh, I'm so over it already.
And it was Jeremy talking about Tony being a bigger threat. And I'm wondering if this, because we're down to what, 4 on each tribe now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if they don't merge this next week or switch tribes again, it might be the last time they do it before they merge.
Yes.
Wait, so there's how many right now?
12.
12?
12. There's 4 on each tribe.
Now would be the best time to split before the merge. Because if you only have,
We'll see. I mean, from what they were saying though,
Yeah.
like Jeremy and Tony were still on the same tribe. They're on the same tribe now, so I don't know if they did or not. I couldn't really tell.
Yeah, but
and,
you could
And Wendell and Michelle were
you
together.
couldn't send home one person and then split to 2
Or
again.
merge. They
Or
could just
merge.
merge.
They would just merge.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we'll see what happens. But I think we're getting close to the merge.
I think they got to
Anyways.
ride out this 3 tribe thing for a couple of more episodes.
Maybe
at least
2
one
more.
Yeah,
Two
it's
more?
going to be like 3 people competing.
Or they do maybe one more time and then they just combine.
Yeah.
I think at least one more episode will be
Yeah.
that.
Because then you get down to 10. Like if one more goes, if they do like a activity and one person wins, that means 2 people go home. That would be 10. So
Right.
then
Yeah,
maybe they
that'd
go
be
to
a way
one
to
after
do it.
that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Final thoughts?
I'll
I
watch
don't-
this week with you guys, I promise.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, no, I can't.
I'll
She
be
had-
in my living room watching
She
it.
has class, but we'll watch it together.
Yeah, but I will watch it at 9 tomorrow night. But one thing I'm so sick and tired of this Wendell and Michelle thing, so I cannot wait for this to be done with because it makes me like skeeve out.
They broke up once.
I know. Just ugh.
I know. Well, excited to see what's going to take place next week. Definitely
Next
getting
week,
interesting.
tomorrow night.
Whoop whoop.
Tomorrow night, I forget that we filmed this
Right on,
late.
right on, right on.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.